6 most disturbing things caught on police body cam footage. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember what this video was about. I don't know if it was supposed to be like creepy disturbing, or like weird disturbing, or like insane disturbing.
Anthony Quinn Warner drove his RV to Nashville, Tennessee's 2nd Avenue and woke up nearby like residents with the sound of a robotic digital female voice coming from his RV, warning everyone around the vehicle to evacuate the area.
This area must be evacuated now. This area must be evacuated now. If you can hear this message, evacuate now.
That sounds like some purge shit,
Soon,
bro.
the female voice repeatedly mentioned that the RV was going to detonate, and a little after 6 a.m., the voice became more and more insistent, announcing that the vehicle would detonate in 15 minutes. In the body cam footage that was later released by the authorities, a group of Nashville police officers can be seen walking around the downtown area, urging any stragglers to evacuate.
Bro, the officers, they have to pull up to the scene and assess the situation, bro. Like, imagine this does blow up. That's, bro.
Evacuate for their own safety.
That's insane, bro.
You're not doing anything wrong, okay? You're not in trouble. But there is something serious happening down the road.
Go for 11.
Okay? Do you mind going down to 2nd and
Where do they need to go when they are evacuated?
That's so creepy,
That's like
bro. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I said, the purge. Bro. There's like 6 officers
The
there
robotic
too, so
voice and its ominous warnings give the whole scene an extremely eerie vibe, like, as the police officer mentioned, something out of the movie The Purge. Strangely, the RV also broadcasted snippets of the 1964 hit song Downtown by Petula Clark, which is a song about how if you're ever feeling sad or lonely, you should go downtown and you'll feel better in the hustle and bustle of the city.
And this is
Unfortunately,
downtown.
the robotic voice wasn't bluffing, and just 15 minutes later, the RV detonated near the AT&T building, causing damage to more than 50 buildings and even collapsing a few of them with its massive blast radius. In the aftermath of the incident, the cops can be seen assessing the damage and moving nearby pedestrians to safety through body cam footage that can only be described as apocalyptic.
Second Broad. Commander 425, are you 10-4?
He's in 4.
Oh my god.
No, my guys.
Where's your car?
How you doing?
Okay, go to your car.
What's going on? 217, myself and 215 are all front row. Command, make sure all units are direct. There may be ammo in that vehicle. We don't need anybody coming up the 2nd Avenue exposed.
You okay? Yeah, I'm good, man. I appreciate it.
Even though the explosive inside the RV was extremely powerful, the cops managed to evacuate most of the nearby residents, and thankfully nobody outside the RV lost their lives. Although 3 people were injured and had to be hospitalized after the vehicle incident, the only person who lost his life was Anthony Warner himself, who was still inside the vehicle at the time of the detonation. After the incident, the authorities started digging deep into Anthony's past to figure out what could have caused him to...
I don't know if I can talk about this on TikTok and Twitch, but I feel like if you are someone who is disturbed mentally, why do they take it out on other people? Like, I'm assuming that this guy just wanted to, you feel me, leave the planet.
Cops managed to evacuate most of the nearby residents, and thankfully nobody outside the RV lost their lives.
Like, why though? And this is not me, like, you know, trying to be like, I guess, disrespectful towards people that have mental illness, but it's like, why is it that they always want to take people with them? That's kind of, I don't know. That's kind of crazy to me, bro.
Although 3 people were injured and had to be hospitalized after the vehicle incident, the only person who lost his life was Anthony Warner himself, who was still inside the vehicle at the time of the detonation.
Like, why? Why did he
After
go
the
down?
incident,
Like,
the
why did
authorities
he
started
want to
digging
hurt
deep
other
into
people
Anthony's
as well?
past to figure out what could have caused him to do something so insane.
Yeah.
What they found was pretty disturbing. As it turned out, Warner was pretty much a paranoid loner obsessed with conspiracy theories about shape-shifting alien lizards that were trying to
That's
take
what I'm
over the
saying. See, like, he's mentally disturbed. So, like,
world. It was also revealed that 16 months before the explosion, Warner's girlfriend had called the cops to report that Anthony had been building explosives inside the RV outside their home. Even more disturbingly,
crazy.
less than a week before Christmas, Warner's neighbor had reportedly asked him if Santa was going to bring him anything good for Christmas, to which Warner replied, "Oh yeah, Nashville and the world are never going to forget me." But despite the clear desire for attention, the cops never managed to truly figure out Warner's motive, and it was eventually concluded that he probably didn't want to hurt anyone, and that a fatal cancer diagnosis mixed with other factors had contributed to Warner's declining mental health.
Wow. That's crazy, bro.
On March 9th, 2023, at around 12:30 p.m., an anonymous caller dialed 911 and told dispatchers that a man that had just run into a food market on Cleveland's Central Avenue was claiming that he had just been kidnapped. As soon as police arrived, they were able to talk to the alleged victim, and the jarring conversation was captured on one of the cops' body cams.
I went over there to fix his busted pipe for his washing machine.
Okay.
And I was gonna put in a water line for his ice and for his refrigerator.
Oh, bro got tied
and when I
up.
got downstairs, and another dude came out.
He got zip
and
ties
had
on his
guns on me, and
wrist.
they robbed me. I mean, they tied me up. They had plastic laying on the ground.
Disturbingly, the zip ties and duct tape that were used in the kidnapping can still be seen on the man's body as he explains what happened to him. As the victim mentions to the cops, the perpetrators forced him into his own van, robbed him, and then held him for ransom before he managed to escape.
So they put this on my face. They get me in my van, and they bring me over here. They turn the location up on my phone. One of the guys is in back with me. And
Which way did the car go?
Huh?
Where'd the car go?
It was parked this way, and I ran all the way down here to here. We were parked right over there.
Parked at 49. What kind of car was it?
It's my van.
As the cops later found out, the main perpetrator was 51-year-old Ahmed Johnson, whom the victim had been in federal prison with at some point in his life. After digging deeper into the case, they uncovered the whole story of the kidnapping. As the victim mentioned in the video, the kidnapper had hired him for a plumbing job, and when he arrived at the house in Cleveland's Buckeye Woodhill neighborhood, he was led downstairs where he would allegedly be shown the leaky pipe that he had to fix. Once downstairs,
Set him up
Ahmed led the victim
crazy.
to another room, where another man jumped out and held him at gunpoint. After stealing his phone and Apple Watch, the kidnappers bound the victim and put him into the back of his own van. As the perpetrators drove the van towards the city's central neighborhood, they made the victim call a friend and bring around $15,000 to a nearby gas station in exchange for his return. But as the van slowed down, the victim somehow managed to jump out and ran down East 49th Street. Thinking quickly, the victim ran into a convenience store where he would be protected by the public eye, causing the suspects to drive off. 2 weeks later, the cops managed to make an arrest, and Ahmed Johnson was charged in Cleveland court with aggravated kidnapping. As of today, there have been no further updates to the case. On September 9, 2019, an Albuquerque Police Department officer saw a young man performing a traffic stop on a gray Nissan SUV. Strangely, the man wasn't dressed like a police officer at all. In fact, he was dressed as an ordinary citizen in jeans,
I think I've
a
seen
black
this before,
polo,
bro.
and an Air Force cap as he wrote down the driver's information. Sensing that something was off, the officer pulled the man aside to talk to him, and from the beginning, the man seemed a little on edge.
You gotta talk to him for a minute.
I do.
What's going on? Let's just talk back here real quick.
You look so stupid,
Where you
bro.
work for?
Early country talk.
Oh, okay.
I know, I'm under-equipped.
Okay. So normally you do, if you're out here, man, if you're making a traffic stop, you're just gonna have to stop. Alright? Do you have an ID with you?
And this is all I got. I mean, like I said, I'm under-equipped. I was just heading over there to the courthouse.
To the courthouse for what?
to
And
get
then he
my
only
car.
has red and white lights.
I know, it makes
I'm pretty
no
sure
sense.
emergency
I
vehicles
caught
need that
going
blue light
120
too.
down I-40.
Okay.
But
Why do
it's
you have
illegal
lights
for him to
on this
run that blue light. So
Personal. I know.
that's why he doesn't
Do you have
have
an
it.
ID with you at all?
No.
No, I keep on my uniform.
The man claims that he was on his way to the courthouse when he pulled over the driver of the gray Nissan. Suspiciously though, he claims he doesn't have any sort of identification on him because he allegedly left it inside his uniform.
Also, by law, I'm pretty sure this is a law. You don't have to stop for like sketchy vehicles, bro. Like, there's no way you're pulling over for somebody that has white and red lights. There's no blue. So why are you pulling over? Every
After a
cop
bit of
car, every
questioning, the man
emergency
says his
vehicle
name
has
is Brendan
blue
Wazinski
lights,
and confesses
as
that
well
he
as
was using
red
his
and white.
personal vehicle to pull over civilians, but insists that he's been an officer of the law for 3 years.
Simple. And I'm not here to mess with you, man. It's just the thing is, yeah, he was speeding, dude. You could have called it in, and because if you get into shooting, you're screwed.
Right.
All right, man.
I understand.
All right.
This, for starters, I know this looks really bad.
Right.
This looks really bad. This screams whacker.
Right. How long you been on?
About 3 years.
Okay. I've been on for like 13 years. All right, so.
After checking the database, the
Sweet.
officer notices
Sophie.
Brendan's name doesn't pop up on any nearby law enforcement agency's list, and at that point his only option is to put the suspect in the back of his vehicle while he waits for his supervisor to figure things out. Less than 5 minutes later, Brendan gets cold feet and confesses that he's not a real cop.
What's up, man?
Alright. I'm just gonna be straight up honest with you. I'm not a cop.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just gonna be
That bad truck.
That's such a big, like,
offline.
Do me a favor, stay in here, okay? For a second.
that's a big charge, bro. Impersonating a police officer.
As soon as his supervisor arrives, the officer briefs him on the situation, and they decide to arrest Brendan for impersonating a police officer.
Dummy.
After
So
putting him in
stupid,
cuffs, the
man.
sheriff arrives to assess the situation.
Like, why? Why do you?
I
do
honestly don't know how long Brendan was expecting to be able to get away with pulling
Ew,
people
bro,
over
what?
pretending to be a cop, but it seems as though he was hoping to play vigilante with no consequences forever. Even though he didn't have a weapon in his belt at the time, it's not uncommon for people like Brendan to start using guns and handcuffs as intimidation tools once they get more comfortable and start thinking they can get away with it. Obviously, it's incredibly dangerous to have random people driving around the city pretending to be cops when they really have nothing to do with law enforcement at all, which is why the officers have no other choice but to bring
That's
them
also
to the
how people
police
get set
station.
up, man. Imagine
After
you pull
arriving at
over
the
for
station,
somebody,
the cops trying to get Brendan's full
they
statement,
rob you?
but the suspect contradicts
thinking they're a
himself a
cop and
bunch
pull
and
over?
lies to try to get the officer's sympathy. Brendan says he was on his way to work when he saw a guy going 120 on the freeway and confesses that he freaked out when the cop asked him about his identity. Strangely, he alleges that the badge he used to fake his identity used to belong to his dad, who supposedly used to work with the sheriff's department before he was killed in the line of duty 5 or 6 years prior.
Oh, damn.
And then
RP.
when I made contact with you, I noticed you had a badge.
Damn.
Where'd you get that badge from?
Belonged to my dad.
It belongs to your dad? When was
Well, it did.
it did? Is he still around, or did he pass away?
Well, he was killed.
Oh, he was killed.
As it was later revealed,
That's
this was a
fucked up.
complete lie, and the truth was that he bought the badge online as he had initially confessed when the cop interrogated him. It's hard to imagine that he thought he was going to get away with a lie like that when there was video evidence of him saying that he bought the badge online less than an hour ago. During the interview, it was also revealed that Brendan was only 18 years old, even though he said he was around 25 when the cop initially pulled him over.
Oh
This
my
makes the
God,
fact that he
he's
said he was married and needed to call his wife
lying.
even more sketchy, and it's hard to tell which details of the story are true and which ones are completely made up. A few seconds later, things get a
Lied
little
about the
scary when
badge.
Brendan confesses that he had a loaded weapon in the glove compartment of the vehicle, which wasn't initially visible in the video. Considering he's a compulsive liar and an irresponsible
What?
teenager, it's pretty horrifying to imagine what he would have done with the handcuffs and gun had he been given the chance to
That's what
play
I'm saying, bro.
vigilante
He
for a
was
few
out
more days or
Fucking
weeks or
rob
whatever.
somebody, bro.
In March 2020, a judge sentenced Brendan to a year of probation. But just a few weeks later, he failed to report to his probation officer, refused to get a psych exam, provided a false address, and missed a scheduled meeting. As a result, the judge tightened his probation conditions, and as of today, there have been no further updates to the case.
There's no way he doesn't get jail time for that, though, man.
At around 8 p.m. on September 30th, 2021, 3 children ages 6, 6, and 7 were reported missing in the Flamingo
6,
Lake
7.
neighborhood in Montgomery, Texas. According to the parents, the kids had gone missing after they went into the Sam Houston forest and wandered off the main trail to go play in a creek. After the disappearance was announced to the public, the authorities launched a massive search that included helicopters, dogs, drones, off-road vehicles, and hundreds of police officers from multiple law enforcement agencies. The next morning, an anonymous Good Samaritan who was very familiar with the layout of the woods decided to take matters into his own hands and went into the national forest by himself to find the kids. At around 9 a.m. on September 31st, the man found the kids and called 911 to bring the children to safety, and the whole rescue was captured on Sergeant Jason Smith's body cam.
So what's disturbing about
Come on,
this?
can y'all come to me? Come to
The
me.
fact that they were in a forest? Or...
Yeah, come to me. There's an opening right here. Come on, kids, come to me.
They wouldn't let me in over here last night, so I just took off around the back. I've been looking all night long.
Yes, sir. I have all
Jesus
3
is good,
children.
ain't he? Ain't Jesus good?
He is good. Kids, I'm the police. Are y'all ready to get out of the woods? Come on,
man.
buddy.
Let's get out of here. You got cheeseburgers in your car?
We're going to get something to eat. Okay? You want to hold my hand? We'll get out of here?
Even though the kids were found just a little over a mile away from where they entered the woods, they'd still been lost for over 24 hours, and pretty understandably they were hungry. As it was later revealed, the kids had spent the night in the forest, sheltering themselves under a fallen tree until the volunteer came to rescue them, which is why they had leaves and branches in their hair in the footage.
Okay.
Here, let's pick this. Grab hold of that. There you go.
You're really strong.
Am I really strong?
I think
Lose your shoe? I got you.
This is so funny, bro.
Even though they had spent the night with minimum shelter and hadn't had anything to eat for 24
They're
hours,
just
the
chilling,
children
like,
still seemed to be in pretty good
cheeseburger.
spirits as Sergeant Smith escorted them out of the
Bro.
woods. And toward the end of the video,
Like,
he
yo,
could be seen
the
guiding them to the
forest
clearing where a bunch of cop cars sit
all
waiting
night.
for them.
Cheeseburger.
Thank you, fellas. Y'all got it? Come on, kids. Let's come out to the road. Whoa, good. What? There you go, buddy. Look at you. You made it.
It's honestly pretty terrifying to think that if they hadn't been found then and there, the kids would have probably ended up succumbing to the elements.
Oh my
But
God,
thankfully,
yeah,
they were able to
that-
get back home to their
yeah,
parents.
yeah. Damn, bro.
On January 30th, 2017, New Mexico police received a disturbing call from a witness in Nevada who claimed he had seen a woman being taken out of her Las Vegas apartment by a man and put into a white van with a Texas license plate. After receiving the alert, the cops were able to locate the van in question less than 24 hours later and arrest the driver and passenger.
So it's 2 people that kidnapped 1 person? Some people are weirdos, bro. Holy.
Once the suspects are out of the vehicle, the cops approach the white van, and that's when they find something incredibly disturbing.
My bad.
Got a camera. You need a...
Oh my God, thank you.
Okay.
Got it? Rolling?
I got throwing.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna get you out of here, okay?
I got pictures of her and I got pictures of the chains.
In the back of the vehicle, the cops find a woman named Jane who is chained to the floorboards of the van by the suspects.
Jesus
and as soon as the officers set her free, she gives them her disturbing testimony. According to the victim, the man who was driving the getaway van was her ex-boyfriend Jack, who broke into her apartment and took her.
Yo.
Even though she fought hard to escape, Jack was trained in mixed martial arts and was a lot heavier than her. It didn't take him long to take her out of her home. Jane assumed it was her neighbors who saw the altercation and called the police, and it was thanks to that 911 call that the cops were able to rescue her. Once inside the police car, Jack doesn't seem all too distressed that he's about to be put away for a long time, and he can even be seen interacting pretty calmly with the officer driving the vehicle, asking him if he has a favorite hymn and singing the words to Amazing Grace as he's taken to jail.
You got a favorite hymn?
What's that?
You got a favorite hymn?
No, I don't.
Why not?
I don't know. I've never been into them. What about you?
What about Amazing Grace? You like that one?
I'll take it.
As it was later revealed, Jack's accomplice in the kidnapping was 19-year-old Samuel Brown. In the other cop car, Samuel asked the police officer to have a conversation with him, claiming that he's scared of everything that's happening.
Is it okay to talk? Is it okay to talk? Yeah.
Oh, so it was a woman and a guy that kidnapped her. Nice.
What are the police gonna ask me?
During the investigation, the police found that Jack and Samuel had planned to take Jane into a cave in New Mexico that Jack had dug into the side of a hill, where they would later brainwash her into marrying one of them, according to the police report. After the horrifying incident, Jack was sentenced to life in prison, and Samuel to a little over 5 years in prison. It's pretty disturbing to imagine where Jane would be if that 911 call hadn't been placed and the cops hadn't intervened.
A cave that they dug out in Mexico?
On April 8 of 2021, police officers from the city of Whitehall, Ohio, about 6 miles away from Columbus, received a report that a man was allegedly impersonating a police officer at a traffic stop.
What?
Upon arriving at the scene, they found a 26-year-old man named Casey Donovan Williams asleep in what appeared to be a Whitehall police cruiser. When he woke up, he told the cops that he was an off-duty cop working a special duty detail. At first, the officers bought his story, but when they were told there was no special duty assigned at that time, they returned to get the real story. And the exchange was captured on the cop's body cam.
But you have no ID from them,
No,
all right?
no.
And have you ever been sworn in by them?
I've talked to the chief.
No. I'm asking you a
direct
direct question. Have you been sworn in by
It's
them?
very important you answer this correctly, because being a former police officer or someday a current police officer, you know if you lie in this situation, you go directly to jail.
No, I'm not.
So I'm going to put that right
listen,
out.
I'm not.
So
trying-
if
I'm
you
not,
are telling me you are
Yeah,
a
he's
police
lying,
officer
bro.
right now, is that what you're telling me?
No.
So you are not a commissioned police officer.
I've spoke with the chief.
That's not what I'm asking you.
Okay.
I'm asking you one question. Are you a commissioned police officer through the state of Ohio?
I have an OPUDA certificate.
That's not what I'm
That's
asking.
not what I'm asking you.
I'm explaining to you. I have
No, you're not. You're not answering the question. You're avoiding the question. It's very simple. Are you a sworn police officer anywhere in the state of
means
Ohio in
commission.
any
Nope.
department?
No.
Not currently.
Okay.
As soon as the cops start applying a bit of pressure, Casey confesses that he's not an actual commissioned police officer.
Of course
And when the
not.
cops mention to him that he risks going to jail if he lies, he decides to call one of the officers who supposedly gave him the job to try to save himself from the consequences.
Okay. 1 second. Would you be willing to speak to the supervisor from the company?
From
Watchman?
From Watchman?
Yes.
Is he an actual police officer?
You are an actual police officer, correct? Okay. Okay. Yes, he is. Where are you commissioned at?
How does that make
It
you an
doesn't matter.
officer,
He's not
though?
here doing anything.
Yeah.
I don't care.
You
I
got
don't
hired
care
by
if
an
he's
officer to
the
work for a
superintendent of the
completely
state highway
separate
patrol.
company. How
That's
does that make
irrelevant to the
you...
situation.
Even though he seems to have a pretty intricate series of excuses to justify his actions, the cops sense there's more to the story than Casey's letting on. After mentioning to the cops that he was just trying to make a little extra money by allegedly working for the Glenwood Police Department, he realizes his chances of getting out of an arrest are pretty slim, and that's when he
Very
resorts
slim.
to asking the cops for mercy.
There's nothing you can do.
That's all I
Like,
was trying to do.
you impersonated an
Please do not-
officer.
I'm asking you for courtesy, man to man.
They did not play that
Please
shit, bro.
do not ruin my career. Please, please, please.
Career's done.
I think you did that kind of on your own.
Throughout the exchange, it seems as if Casey either doesn't realize the severity of what he's doing, or he really thinks the cops are going to let him get away with showing a fake badge and even carrying a weapon while pretending to be an officer of the law.
That's
Still, things
crazy.
were about to get a whole lot worse for Casey, because after he was put in the real police officer's cruiser, the cops searched his vehicle and found a loaded AR-15 rifle, a tactical vest, a loaded handgun with 15 rounds of ammo, a taser, 2 pairs of handcuffs, and pepper spray. It's pretty disturbing to think of what could have happened if the cops hadn't arrested Casey then and there, because even though he didn't seem to have any bad intentions at first glance, Casey could have used the badge, vehicle, and weapons for some pretty nefarious
To
purposes
rob
if he wanted
somebody,
to,
bro.
by simply convincing people he was a real police officer. From
That's always what I
kidnapping
think
to
about, bro.
extortion and everything
Pull
in
over
between,
for a
a
cop.
fake cop can be extremely
You get a
dangerous.
fucking big-ass
As it was
gun
later revealed,
pointed
this
in
wasn't
your
the first
face.
time the suspect had gotten in
Fuck out the
trouble for
car,
trying to
man.
pull
You gotta get
similar
out the car.
stunts.
You got a gun in your
Although at
face.
one point he had been a corrections deputy at the Pickaway County Jail, he was forced to resign after trying to enforce his authority as an undercover cop at a fair when he hadn't been instructed to do so. After the incident in Whitehall, Casey was charged with impersonating a police officer, a 3rd-degree felony, and improper handling of a gun in a motor vehicle, a 4th-degree felony.
Damn, Sean. Damn, Sean. What is that, 3 felonies? Bro is cooked. He's done for.
Whole lot of red. Whole lot of red. One shot to the head. Nigga, you dead. I don't give a fuck about me.